Hi everybody, welcome back to Vocal Diagnostics. Today I'm going to take you through another warm-up. This is one that's best done after you've sung a little bit or after you've been awake for a while, not right out of bed. You may be warm already, you may have already been to the gym or have done a little bit of singing, perhaps in an ensemble, or you're just getting ready for your lesson or something like that. Here are some of the warm-ups that I might do with a student on a day like that. Now remember, you're always going to want to warm up based on what you're singing that day. If you go into opera rehearsal, that's a different warm-up than singing through all the arias that you're going to take to the audition season this year. So be able to warm up based on the day, know what your voice is telling you it needs, make sure you're hydrated and rested and all those good things that pertain to vocal health, but you've got to warm up based on the needs of the day and what your voice is telling you. So there is no one size fits all. This is all going to change every single day, slightly. So here are a couple things we can do. All right, we're going to get the voice moving just a little bit. We're going to sing an ah vowel, and I want a bright ah, not an aw, not a tall aw, but an ah, and a nice Italian ah. So you're going to get that singer smile there, and by that I mean not this, not just a superficial raising and smiling this way, but you're going to feel that lift. Remember the good smell breath. If you haven't watched that video yet, go back and check out the good smell breath. Then you're going to have a lift here as you prepare to let that sound in, jaws hanging down low. We sing through a couple of these in a little pattern that goes like this. I'll take you through a couple of them. So 1, 2, 3, and ah, 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 ah. Ah, 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 ah. Ah, 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 ah. Ah, 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 ah. Absolutely go higher if you need to. We stopped right there on the C major, an octave above where we started. We're going to start now in F major and head down just a little bit so we can overlap a bit in the middle. So we have ah, 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 ah. Ah, 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 ah. Okay, very good. Now, hopefully you're feeling okay. If you're feeling fatigue or a sense of overheating or like things are already getting tired, it probably just means there's an overabundance of phlegm that day. Stop what you're doing, go back and do a few other exercises, or just let the voice sit. Remember, there's always wisdom in letting the voice sit after you've sung a bit. Swallow. Don't sing until you're tired. Don't force it. There's no point in that. That will not yield anything productive. Say you're feeling exceptionally good today and you need to sing some things that have some agility, or you just want to be really flexible. Add a little tag onto the end of this. So you might go, as you notice, we're trying to keep our vowel nice and bright as we can without sort of entering nasal territory, and that's a little too shallow, a little too spread. We want to maintain as much space as we can in back so we get the benefit of those overtones. Remember, that's going to give you the best sound for the least amount of effort. That's what we're all about. So if you want, add that little tag. It goes, ah, ah, ah. It's really hard to pivot there on top. You have to stay really loose, really light. Breath has to be consistent, and just make sure you're moving around a little bit so you don't block on anything, okay? Try a couple of those just for fun. 1, 2, 3, and ah, ah, ah. Ah, ah, ah. Ah, ah, ah. Ah, ah, ah. again, just pay attention. Are there parts that want to slow down on you? Are there parts that feel kind of sticky each time? Sometimes you lose intonation on various notes. Remember, these are warm-ups, so that's okay. Be aware of those things, and so as you get warmer and you shed some of that gunk, you can go back and try these again and make sure that the precision is there, that the intonation is there. But it's okay to just make sound initially. And yes, take inventory and listen to what you're doing, but don't stress so much about everything being pristine. You are warming up after all. Remember, there is a difference between a warm-up and a technical exercise. Sometimes they do overlap, but the purpose of a warm-up is to make sound, to get the voice going, not to practice pristine techniques that should be executed flawlessly every time. That's what you get to once the voice is warm and functioning well and feels good. Some days you're going to warm up and you're going to think, today is not a great day. And you're going to have to change what you were going to do that day, or be extra careful to not push. Otherwise you won't be singing, much of the rest of the week. Okay, good. Now, let's do a couple other things here. This is another exercise I like to do when things are feeling pretty good. I'm going to take my voice up to the top a little bit, and then I'm going to sit. So what we're going to do is, we're going to start on a D major. We go, so we're just going to run up to the top on a nice bright ah, and then gently taper off and take a trip down. Now we're starting to get into some of those changes in dynamics. We're going to make sure we're really connected to the air support and that this is very loose. You will know immediately if something is tensing because it will become really hard to make the sound. Okay? Just try a couple of these with me. Here we go. Good, I've taken you up to A natural. I find that tends to be a benchmark for most singers, not everybody, but that's a good place to go to because it's high enough you have to actually figure it out and place things in the right place. And you can't really cheat if you're pushing your chest voice too high and you're not lightening the tone enough. It's kind of hard to cheat on that A without noticing. It's high enough that you'll have to think about that distribution of the weight and those sorts of things. But it also is not so high that it becomes all about the note. So for example, if you know you're going to sing a high C or a high D today, it's okay to warm up to that A and then just let the voice sit. And at this point, I may take 5 minutes or so and just rest my throat. Not do anything. Just swallow, drink water, look through my music, but not make a sound. At the end of that short time, that 5-minute period, or perhaps a little longer depending on the day, right? Make a few sounds again, try that exercise maybe one more time up on the A and see how it feels. If it feels fantastic, chances are you're probably in pretty good shape. If it's feeling a little rough still, try a couple more down low and up to the A and then let it sit again. I'm a big fan of incremental warm-up. Okay, we're going to do one more warm-up here, and this is something that can be done in the middle part of the voice. You make a lot of continuous sound. It's a great warm-up, and it's not strenuous, but requires tremendous amounts of control. So we get to address multiple things at once here, which I'm always a fan of. Okay, it's E, A, Ah in that sequence. I'll show you how it works. We go E, A, Ah. So you take the E up, you take the E back down, then you slowly morph to the A. Do the same thing with that, slowly morph to the Ah. As you'll notice, the sound is continuous and it is really a breath-dominant exercise. You could see a few times, I made a few mistakes myself. I lunged out of that bottom note. That's all here. That's going to be a laryngally dominant sound. When we do that in our singing on the stage, we're going to hear it and feel it. So you're going to try to get out of that bottom note with not a lot of flex, using the air to get you out of that bottom note so that it is dominant, it is in control, and this is simply steering the sound as it should. Okay, let's try a few of those. Based on your air capacity, you may not be able to do them that long, so I will speed them up, adjust as necessary, okay? Here we go. So funny enough, that exercise has been one of my favorites over the years, even though it's so simple, because you're just making continuous sound, you're really singing into the voice, but it's in the middle part of the voice. Again, after an exercise like that, you'll notice if there's an overabundance of phlegm or if the voice feels really good. Then you can start to take that a little bit higher. I don't need to take that very far to get maximum benefit from the exercise. Maybe an E or an F natural up here, but above that, it's not really going to yield the same results as we would get down in the middle part of the voice for what we're trying to accomplish. Okay, so that's another little warm-up session you can do after you've been singing a little bit. Try some of those things out, and hopefully that will help you in the practice room and in the studio. Thanks so much for watching.